So we're back, we're talking FF7, we're talking Rebirth, and today we have some spicy shit, my dudes. We have the Game Informer cover story for Rebirth, to which the digital version of that dropped today, which provided us with a lot of new images to look at, like a good chunk of the images that are provided we have seen before from like trailers and things like that. But we also have some brand new ones that are pretty interesting. Like we have Cloud on the Segway, but you're seeing it from the front, so you're getting to see like his full outfit and shit, and probably like a different area within Costa del Sol. We have, I guess, what used to be the cargo ship, because the image they provide, it looks like a damn like Carnival cruise ship now, which is kind of interesting. We also have another image of like Cloud just kind of standing in like the world somewhere, but in the distance we have what looks to be Fort Condor, and this time like I think for sure is confirmed to be Fort Condor, I would say, because it's like on top of like a giant mountain or something like that, but it's literally like a fucking bird with like its wings out or whatever, so it's kind of has to be Fort Condor, because what else would it be? As of recording right now, I haven't even looked through like the actual coverage itself, like what they say in the article or whatever. It's like 12 pages, so I don't have to go through that and find anything that might be worth talking about, but let's just hop into it. Probably gonna look at the images first. So first off, we are gonna look at this Cloud Segway image, which by itself is kind of interesting. It's kind of whatever. We do get to see Cloud's full outfit here, because before we could only see the back of his shirt. Apparently on the front there's some sort of design. It's kind of hard to make out what it is. The other kind of interesting bit from this is Cloud is riding a different Segway than what we've seen in the trailer, because that one was blue, but also in that trailer, in those images, we've seen that there was other colored Segways, but it looks like Cloud can maybe pick what Segway he wants to ride, maybe, I don't know. But the other kind of takeaway from this would be the location of where we might be in Costa del Sol, and if you take a look at the building in the background, you can see that it says Costa del Sol on the side of the building. If you go back to OG FF7, this was near the entrance of Costa del Sol, and it was actually right by the villa that you can buy in the original FF7. Maybe that's returning. So right here we just have a screenshot of our group battling a flan enemy, specifically Aerith, Kate, Sith, and Cloud, which is kind of cool because this is an enemy that didn't exist in the remake game so far, so it's be the first time we're going to be fighting this thing. The location is a little bit interesting just because I see balloons in the background. I don't know what this would be exactly. We do see like kind of a rusty tower. We see kind of a destroyed ground with like giant stone square pieces, and the first thing that came to mind for me was like one of the airships potentially with Sid, because we do see something similar in the trailer. But at the same time, this particular area here looks very different from the flan scene, but also the balloons in the background would lead me to believe that it's maybe something kind of near Gold Saucer, because that just makes sense. I'm actually having to come back and add this part as I'm still editing and recording, that the original FF7 didn't have a flan enemy. It's one of those like iconic enemies that I just assumes in every game, but it actually wasn't in OG FF7. I don't even know if it's actually in like Dirge of Cerberus or Crisis Core, off the top of my head anyways. So it's kind of interesting. This should be our first time we're actually having to fight this with like the FF7 series at all, which is kind of cool. And it's like a big flan enemy, so maybe it's going to be like a boss fight, kind of mini boss fight. I don't know. Here we have Cloud walking around calm. There's not really a lot that I can think of to break down from this, but it just looks good, dude. Just the screenshot and stuff we have of calm, the gameplay a little bit that we got from like TGS of people walking around calm. It just looks and feels so good. There's just a vibe here, man. That RPG village vibe that I love in RPG games. I get that from what we've seen of Calm, but I do wonder how they're going to expand the narrative here. What kind of story elements are they going to add to Calm? Because there was, other than the Calm flashback, there was nothing really. So here we have our group talking to Kyrie. We see some Kyrie Moogle dolls or something. I kind of want one of those IRL. As for when and where this could be exactly, I mean, we clearly see water in the background, so the first guesses that come to mind are Junon or Costa del Sol, but we do see like lighthouses and all kinds of like POIs in the distance a lot in gameplay, so she could technically kind of be anywhere that's near the water. I don't know what we're going to be doing here though. She does have like a little microphone, so is she maybe broadcasting over some intercoms, over the radio? I don't know, but we do see a microphone there on the desk. So I want to come back and add this to the Kyrie part, because I think it's an interesting observation. We do see Cloud interacting with Kyrie here, right? But with the previous trailer, we've seen Zack interacting with Kyrie. And some people think that like Zack's dead, not accepting it, not realizing it. But it doesn't explain him interacting with people that are alive, right? Because Kyrie is alive. There could be a difference in time here. Maybe Kyrie's in Midgar during the Zack stuff, and it's technically a little bit before the Rebirth shit. Maybe that's why Cloud and them run into her. Like, it makes sense that Zack's dead and not realizing it, interacting with other people that are dead, not realizing it, like Biggs. Maybe Marlene, who isn't dead but has, like, the powers. That all kind of makes sense, right? But why is Zack interacting with Kyrie? And we assume he's going to be talking to Elmira, too, right? Elmira's not dead. We know that, too, as well. So it's like, the idea that Zack is dead, I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time on this because we talked about it a lot in the last technically years at this point, but it's just, unless Zack is like special, which I'm kind of fine with that if they want to make him like a unique person that's not accepting his death and can still interact with the world, but just in the previous lore that we have, I think actually from Trace 2 Pass, where we learn a lot about like Clay and stuff with Marlene and all that shit, like you can't interact with the world, right? Like Aerith could sense him, could see him, whatever, but not Elmira, right? So I don't know if maybe Zack is unique in that he's not fully dead, but can still interact with the world. Like we talked about before, the FF10 comparison with like Ornn and Tidus and stuff like that. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe we're obviously going to know when we play the game, obviously. But just as of right now, it's just something's not adding up here. Unless Zach is like just special, which my boy is. So we have a screenshot of what used to be the cargo ship that is now very clearly kind of designed after like some sort of cruise ship, carnival cruise ship, whatever. And I think it makes a bit of sense since we're traveling from Junon to Costa del Sol, which is a very touristy destination. I think it makes a little bit of sense it would be on like a cruise ship, right? This does make me wonder a bit, however, like since it's not a cargo ship anymore that's just like Shinra soldiers and sailors, it's actually got like just regular people in there. Are we still going to be sneaking on board? We do see that Cloud dresses up as a soldier in like the trailers and shit like that, and we do the mini game or whatever, but is everybody going to dress up as Shinra soldiers, or is Cloud just going to sneak them all on board? But also, we can't just walk around there, right? Because there's going to be a lot of Shinra people on board, you would think, and we're still wanted by Shinra. Our faces are kind of plastered everywhere, right? So it's kind of curious how they're going to do that. I will say that really quickly, I do have Trace's 2 Pass back here, and I know they do cargo ship stuff in that book, but I don't know the full details of it because I've not read it. I'm just not really a book person. It's more of a collector's item back there. And I don't know if it does like the full story of how we got on the cargo ship, or if it just picks up in like media res. We're already on the cargo ship. I don't know exactly. You guys could tell me that in the comments. Maybe it's explained in the book. Here we have another screenshot of some combat gameplay with Red 13, Barret, and Cloud. We're in a desert setting, obviously. We have this bird enemy, which I think we've seen this bird enemy before somewhat recently, either in like the recent trailer or some screenshots or something, but I hadn't really talked about it or put emphasis on it. But this bird enemy, I'm pretty sure you fight right around Cosmo Canyon, right? But also, if you look in the very background, just over that rock behind Red 13, there is clearly some like ruins or something. Some sort of, I don't know what that is exactly, but it's definitely like a man-made structure or something. Which we actually talked about this before with the release date announcement trailer breakdown video, where you see like Aerith and Red 13 fighting the same enemy, but in the background you can see some ruins. Here we have Cloud fisting Tifa. Yes, I'm going to leave that in the video. But yeah, we see Cloud and Tifa like fist bumping each other, Aerith in the background. You see like the ship wheel in the background on the wall. So either this is like in Junon because of like the naval theme, or actually on like the cargo ship / cruise ship itself. I guess actually it could also maybe be Costa del Sol, but we're not wearing outfits, which is particularly interesting, right? So it makes sense to maybe be Costa del Sol since we get here and just take our outfits off, if we're even disguised at all. And actually, since I'm talking about the outfits and the cargo ship again, it just reminded me to look back at like the theme song announce trailer where we see Cloud run around on the ship, right? And I guess I kind of forgot, but Cloud's not wearing an outfit in that moment. Like he's on the ship, on where you're supposed to be wearing disguises in the original FF7, and we're just walking around normal. So actually, I don't know exactly where this is taking place. So here we have the screenshot that I think is the most interesting potentially. We have the lighthouse in the distance, which we've talked about, the crash ships around Cloud, but of course, to the right of Cloud's head, in the distance, we have the gigantic bird on top of what has to be Fort Condor, right? Like, what else would that be? I don't know what else this could possibly be if it's not Fort Condor. Apparently, my mind's all over the place today because I got to come back and add this too, because how the hell did I miss the dog in this image? I don't know what the context of this is. It's probably in the Game Informer article, but Cloud's just like kind of vibing with the dog here. So we talked about previously, I think with like the under Junon kind of demo gameplay, whatever, the people were seeing like an island in the distance they were thinking was Fort Condor. There was like a tower or something on it. But I don't personally recall anybody saying anything about a gigantic bird on top of the tower. I don't know if that's like a different thing to this that we're seeing. This does appear to maybe be in the Junon kind of area. But still, like this I think is like for sure. This confirms at least a location exists. It still has a gigantic bird on top of it. We're all kind of wondering with the implementation of like the Fort Condor minigame if they're going to cut the location entirely. But it seems like it is a location. Now, do we go there in this game? I don't know. We see the location. It doesn't seem that far away that we can maybe get there on either the Tiny Bronco later in the game, either a Chocobo, potentially swimming there. I don't know how far we can swim out in the water. I don't know exactly. The location does seem to exist. It's just a matter of whether we get there or not in this game. That's where we're going to wrap the video up, though, my dudes. It's already kind of long-ish, and if we look at like the whole Game Informer shit, it'll probably be a really, really long video. I'd rather split them up where we do one video looking at the images and one video looking at the actual article. And I did skim through it a bit, and they do explain some of the images. Like, they do say that Kyrie is at a lighthouse. The Flan enemies and like the White Moose enemies that you're going to fight are because of her. She's like broadcasting a theme song that's attracting enemies. Like, I've looked at it again, but again, this was us just looking at the, almost like a reaction sort of, like looking at the images and kind of trying to theorize and dissect what's going on here. And obviously the article itself will explain the shit. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Of course, that's going to be the video, my dudes. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DaveYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame, we blow that like Coltrane. We in here